Hey guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with a video that I'm really excited to do because it's kind of a running joke that I never finish series. So I wanted to challenge myself to tier ranking the series that I have finished. And so I have loved doing tier ranking videos. I think I've done 2 so far. So this is my 3rd one. I will link down below the other 2 that I've done. I think they're just really fun, and I've seen some other people do this where they take all the series they finished and tier rank them. Now in the last 4 years, I went back through 2019. So we did 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. In the past, well, I guess 3.5, I have only finished 33 series, and I feel like that sounds like a lot, but it's not really a lot to me. I have so many series where like, yeah, I finished that, and I was like, wait, I haven't finished the last book, or more books came out. I'm not counting historical romance series in here. I'm just keeping it contemporary or dark or fantasy, and I also am not including duets. So if it's 2 books and it was meant to be a duet, I'm not including it in here because I don't count that as a series. I do have some series where there are only 2 books out, so I counted those, but other than that, I only have 33. I feel like I should have way more. I have started so many more series since then, but some of them are oldies and some of them are really, really new. So I'm excited to chat about these. I only went back to 2019 because I feel like if I went any further, I wouldn't remember them in order to tier rank them. So for the categories, I have absolute favorite. This is a die-hard favorite series of mine. I'm obsessed with it, love it, yes. I have solid series. That means I really enjoyed it, but it's not an absolute favorite. We have entertaining, where it's not necessarily something that I would recommend or love, but I had a fun time reading it. And then we have forgettable, meaning like I can't really remember a lot about this and I think it's just fine. And then we have crash and burn, where it might have started out strong and I hated it at the end, or I just really hate the series. I don't know a lot of these though that are gonna be in that negative of a category because I finished them for a reason. So I don't finish series if I don't like them. So I'm excited to talk about all of these, so we'll go ahead and get to it. All right, I'm screen recording now. Okay, so the first series, these are actually completely out of order in what I put them in, and I did not realize it would put The Deal by Elle Kennedy first. And now I talked about this actually in my first tier ranking video I ever did, where I talked about my favorite books from every year I've been on BookTube, and so I think I went back to like 2016, and I don't even know if I went back to 2015, because 2015 is when I started BookTube. But the off-campus series has 4 books in it. I read them as they were coming out. I remember reading them in my apartment that I had and literally staying up all night to read some of them, and they're some of my favorites. But like, would I consider them absolute all-time favorites at this point? Book 4 I didn't even like. So I'm gonna put this in solid series. I don't think I could count this as an all-time favorite. And there's a book box that has absolutely stunning editions of these books, and I'm so tempted to get it, but I'm telling myself, like, am I gonna reread them? Are they really, really ones that are my absolute favorite series? I would have to reread the series to decide if it's an absolute favorite of mine. So I'm gonna put it in solid. Then we have the Sugar Daddy series, which I actually have a whole notebook written down of how many books are in these series. It would have been helpful if these were in order, but I did not take the time to rearrange all of them. I don't want to do that. So the Sugar Daddy series, I feel like I didn't love it. I remember reading it and I really enjoyed the first book, but by the end I was like, what is happening with this plot? This is one that I read a pretty long time ago. I think it might have been in 2019 when I read this series. I'm pretty sure there was a murder involved, and that's all I remember, so it's gonna go unforgettable. Obviously, I've forgotten it after a couple years, and I'm pretty sure I was like, what is happening? So I don't think it crashed and burned for me, but definitely not something that I was loving. The Inevitable series, I am gonna put in all-time favorite because if you guys remember when I was reading this series, Inevitable Conclusions was one of my absolute favorites. I don't remember one of them that well. There's 3 books in here, and we have this one, and then I remember the 3rd book, which was her daughter's book. It was so good, so I'm gonna put it in favorites even though I don't really remember book 2. Books 1 and 3, I'm pretty sure her book was 3, were so my favorites. So I have a lot of authors on here where I'm obsessed with them, and I've only read one of their series. Christina C. Jones I think has 4 series on here because over the past 2 years, I've read so much of her backlist because I'm obsessed with her. We have the Getting Schooled series. I'm going to put this in solid. I think I've given all of them 4 stars. I really enjoyed this series. It's not even called the Getting Schooled series. I think it's called the Wright Brothers series. I love all of them, and they were really fun. They're more lighthearted and not like her other books. So it's like the Inevitable series is like pretty serious. This one, definitely much more lighthearted. I had fun with them, so I would give it solid. We also have the Texas Nights series by Lex Lex Martin. I loved Lex Martin a few years ago. I was reading her entire backlist. I still read her now. She still sends me her arcs because I've read her for so long, and this I think was a series I actually discovered her on. I would love to reread the series again because it is small town and it's very emotional. I don't remember the plot of the first one, but I remember one of them was that they were like having to take care of children together, I think, on like this farm or something, and they fell in love. I don't remember if it was like their sibling slash best friend, like one of them it was a sibling and the other one was a best friend, had passed away, the parents did, and so they got in charge of the kids. I know it's like a very common trope for a bunch of other books, but I remember absolutely adoring this series when I read it. So I also read another one of her series that I was obsessed with, but I think I read it in 2018, so I didn't go all the way back to 2018, but love Lex Martin. I've loved her for a long time now. Highly recommend checking her out. We all know the Mind F series is going to go an absolute favorite of mine. I am obsessed with this series. I read it last summer and I was like, everybody has to read this. Lana is just a kick-butt heroine who has gone through a lot. Like, this is a dark series, but she is taking control of what had happened to her and getting revenge and falling in love with the FBI agent who's trying to find the killer of her crimes, aka her. So it's so good. So good. But you guys, I think you all know what it is. So then we have the Briar U series, which I'm going to put under solid as well. I definitely didn't love the Briar U series as much as Off Campus, and there was one I think I gave like 2.5 stars to. I really didn't like it, but some of them were super cute and I did give them 5 stars, so I would not feel comfortable just putting it in entertaining because I just really like this series. I had fun seeing different hockey players, and the series is just so nostalgic to me, so I'm going to keep that in solid. I'm going to put the Kiss Quotient series under absolute favorite. I think I've given all of them 5 stars. I really love them. I love how unique each couple is and how they have their own struggles, and some of them are much more serious than others, especially the newest one. I really love the newest one though. Quan, his story was so highly anticipated for me and I absolutely loved him, but like the OG Stella and Michael, when this first came out, I was obsessed with them. So I am definitely going to put this in absolute favorite because I gave everyone 5 stars. So amazing. Then we have Bad Habit. I don't know if I want to put... I think I'll put it under entertaining. This one is by Charlie Rose, and I would have put it under forgettable, but I feel bad because it's forgettable because it's been so long since I read it. I think this one is from 2019 and I remember really enjoying them, but I feel like I've really outgrown them. It's like new adult. I think one of them's a stepbrother romance. One of them might be like a best friend's brother. I don't even remember. I'm pretty sure there's 3. I think the newest one I was really disappointed in. Not that I didn't like it, but I didn't love it. So I think I feel more comfortable putting it under entertaining. It was a fun time while I was reading them, but my taste has definitely changed since I was reading them in 2019, and I don't think Charlie Rose has even written a book in a very long time, so I don't know if her books are still my taste because I haven't read them since I was reading all of hers when she was writing. Hopefully she writes something soon. I don't know if she will, but because I really loved the one about the circus. Like what was that called? I don't remember. She, Rewrite the Stars, I think. She like helped them and they were like biker acrobat people. It was really cool. Anyways, we have Intercepted. I am going to put this one. This one is called... not Intercepted. This one is the Playbook series, and I'm going to put it under solid series. I think I've given all of them 4 or 5 stars. I really love this series, and then she stopped writing in it and started writing other things that came out and I didn't even know, so I do have a couple more of her books downloaded on audio. This is Alexa Martin, who is different than Lex Martin, but these are so good, especially near the end. I remember having like a single parent one and a second chance, and I really enjoyed them. And I think, was this one where they were wags, where like they talked about the wives and girlfriends of the football players, and there might have been what is it called? A reality show about them. I'm pretty sure that was a series. I really loved it. I need to keep up on her new releases. We have the Wildcat series. I'm going to put this under entertaining. I don't think that I absolutely loved it, but I could not stop reading them. This is by Max Monroe. I was seriously on a Max Monroe binge back in 2018, 2019. I read their Doctor series too, which I guess was in 2018 because I remember reading that entire series as well. This was when I was really getting into audiobooks, and so I was flying through series that way. And these are just sports romances. I think the Doctor one actually had to do with a reality show, but this one I would put under forgettable, but again, this was the furthest away that I've read, so I don't want to put it under forgettable just because it's been a while, but I think it was pretty entertaining. I don't know if I would highly recommend the series, but I had fun reading them. The Morgan Brothers series, I think when I was reading them, I would have put it under absolute favorite, but now that it's been a couple years, it's just gonna go under solid series. I had a lot of fun with this series. I read them absolutely out of order. I think I read book 4 and then I went to book 2, and I just like did not care what order I was reading them. It was like whatever I felt like reading, I was gonna read. But this is all about brothers, and then they do have like an honorary best friend who gets one as well. There are a lot of fun tropes in Hero. He's a firefighter, and it's his physical therapist from getting injured. And we have a rock star one, we have a bodyguard one, and they're just a lot of fun. I had fun with the series. Very solid. I would highly recommend. What He Doesn't Know is going to go in absolute favorite. So this would not have counted because it's actually a duet, but the author wrote another book and now is a 3-book series. So I'm adding it on here. It's by Candy Steiner. It is a love triangle romance, marriage in trouble. The heroine has had complications with getting pregnant, so it does deal with infertility and loss of a child. And so her and her husband have not really been communicating that well. And so someone from her past comes back into her life, and she is contemplating leaving her husband for him. And so you don't know who she's going to end up with until the end of book 2. And then book 3 is about the guy she didn't pick. It is so angsty, so good. I absolutely love this. Then we have the End of Men series, which I find so underrated. I was obsessed with these back when I was reading them, but there's only 2 and they're supposed to come out with a 3rd one, and they have not still. Pretty sure I was reading these in 2019. It makes me so sad. Societies where like men cannot have babies in the society, and there's only a handful who can get women pregnant, and they are literally like taken to people and paid to get their children pregnant, like their daughters. So like their daughters are like in their 20s though. So like they literally travel the world. They are like rock stars. They're so wealthy, but they literally have to sleep with people and get them pregnant because they're the only men left in the world who can get women pregnant. So they have hundreds of babies, but then someone falls in love and doesn't want to keep on sleeping with all these women, and it is so good, so good. I hope they finish the series. I don't know if they will. The Flock series, I feel really bad saying this. I don't think it crashed and burned. I like thinking about it. I don't know. I think book 1 I gave like 3.5 stars. Was it entertaining though? Book 3 was okay. Book 2, I was very confused. But it didn't crash and burn. I will say, but like, is it forgettable? I wouldn't say it was entertaining because I was confused so much of the time. I'm gonna put it under forgettable. I was not thoroughly impressed with the series. I know people love it. Book 1, I was like, okay, this girl, I don't really love her. She matured so much by the end. So I will say I feel like I liked the last book the best, but I think I gave book 1 4 and book 2 3 or 3.5. I don't know. So I'm gonna give it forgettable because I wouldn't say it was entertaining. I wasn't like super excited to read them, but I was like, I'm determined to see this through and figure out who these people are because the mystery was making me so angry because I was like, what the heck is happening? And it's so hard to even like tell you what the series is about because book 1 is so different than book 3, and the people she's in with book 1 don't even matter in book 3. Like the love interest is someone completely different, which I do not like when series do that. So absolute favorite, even though book 3 was a hot mess, I love this series. I cannot stop talking about it. I love QB Tyler. First semester, second semester, spring semester. She is going to write a 4th one, which is really exciting. They're just really fun new adult romances. So the first one is student professor. The second one is dad's best friend. She works in his law office. And then the third one are best friends who love to cheat with each other on their significant others. So it's very, very, very messy, but it was a fun time. I love this series. I highly recommend it to everybody. Then we have the Sutter Lake series, which is the most recent one that I read. I'm putting this under solid. I wouldn't call it a favorite because it's mostly, I think I had like 2 3 stars, 2 4 stars, and a 5 star. So the series, unless it was like, I don't know, it spans from 3 to 5. I really enjoyed some, and I thought some were kind of forgettable. So I think though it's a great small town romance, and I really enjoyed reading all of these books and seeing all these characters. I wasn't as invested in all the characters though because I feel like they weren't entwined enough in each other's lives. Like her new series is all about siblings, and I'm like super excited for certain characters to get their books. This series I didn't feel like that. I just listened to them on audio and I just picked them up whenever I could. One of them is my absolute favorite in the series, and she is on the run because her dad stole money from people. She turned him in, but people are sending her death threats and her family hates her, so everybody hates her. So she hides away in a small town and falls in love with a millionaire. So it was really fun. I got to interview Catherine Cowles. I love her so, so much. I am technically caught up on her Tattered and Torn series, but I have 4th book, so I didn't count that as the series I finished yet, though technically I guess I should have because she is like up to date on them, but it's okay. That would be under probably absolute favorite because I love that series so much, but I am starting her Rec series as well, so I think all of her series are absolutely solid. I love them. Then we have the Survival Instinct series, I think, by Adriana Anders. Now, the problem is I gave book 1 4.5 stars, and I gave book 2 2.5 stars. So I'm gonna put this under entertaining. I don't think it was a solid series, but I had a lot of fun reading them. I love we're on the run together in very cold climates. So in the first one, they're in Antarctica. The second one, they're in Alaska, and they literally have to run and survive together. The second one, though, I did not feel any chemistry, and it was very insta-love, and I wasn't a fan. But Whiteout was so fun. So I'm just putting it under entertaining because I love that setting that these characters were in. I just couldn't deal with the romance. Then we have the culmination of everything. I think it was just the culmination series. I'm gonna put this under solid. Another very solid Christina C. Jones series. I really enjoyed book 1, more so than book 2, but I think they were both like solid 4.5 star reads for me. They're not an absolute favorite from her, but I really enjoyed them. I guess they're technically small town too, which I didn't think of. I don't get the same like small town vibes from them as I do other books because the first one takes place like in the wilderness, so I don't feel like that's super small town, but the second one, she's opening a vineyard, but they're really good and they're very emotional, so I really love this series. We have the All the Pretty Things trilogy that I'm obsessed with. This one, the hero kidnaps our heroine and they go through a lot. They get like stranded on an island. I think most of book 1 they're like on a boat together. It's so good. Very dark romance. Obviously she falls in love with her kidnapper, and there's a spin-off duet as well. Monica James writes lots of duets, so I read a lot of her duets, but this is one of her trilogies that I love, so definitely in the favorites. This series I think is I don't even remember what this series is. I think this one's the Love Sister series. I'm gonna go with entertaining for this series. This is my least favorite series by her. These are funny, but they are, I think, shorter than all the other books I've read by her, and I think one of them I really didn't love. I think I gave it 3 stars, so I had a lot of fun reading them still. I enjoy these characters, but some of them are a little over the top because they're more like on the rom-com side, and I'm not a super rom-com person. I definitely prefer all of her other series I've read, so I'm sticking with entertaining for this one. We have the Becker Brothers series. I'm gonna put this under solid. I really enjoy the Becker Brothers from Katie Steiner. I think I gave most of them 4 stars. They're really fun small town romances revolving around a whiskey distillery. There was a murder mystery happening as well that spanned all 4 books, so like it was established in book 1 of a murder that happened in the past, and then they don't figure out who did it until book 4. I found it a little lackluster with the reveal in book 4, but as a small town romance series it was fun back when I didn't read small town. So then we have the Madison Kate series, which I'm gonna go with entertaining. I don't know if any of these are actually gonna go in crash and burn, so I'm, like I said, like if I don't like a series, I don't finish reading it. But the Madison Kate series, I think I stopped loving by the end because the books got so much longer. It's like book 1 is the shortest and book 4 is super, super long. They're reverse harem, and I had fun with them, but it got to be a lot. So I just read these because they were very entertaining. These are my least favorite series by this author, actually. I really love the Hades series, which I have 1 more book left to read, and then the Honey Trap series, which I have 2 books left to read. I'm obsessed with that series, so I like her other series better. So this one was just a fun time. That's why I ended up reading it. You guys know we have a lot more coming to absolute favorite. The Fallen Men series by Gianna Darling is one of my absolute favorite series. I talk about Gianna nonstop. You guys know I'm obsessed with her. Since book 7 has still not come out yet, I am still caught up on the series, so this is going on absolute favorite. It is MC. Almost every book is the age gap, super angsty. I think every book is age gap, actually. Very angsty, and I'm obsessed with them. Then we have the For Blood and Ash series, which I don't know. Is this one I want to put in Crash and Burn? I don't know, because no, I didn't hate the last one. I don't know. I love the first one, but like the second one's pretty good. Okay, I'm just gonna put these under entertaining. I wouldn't consider it a super solid series. I do love this series. I will read every new release in this specific series. I did not read book 1 in the spinoff yet, which I guess I should have for the new book. I think there's 4 books now, and I literally could not put book 1 down. I remember my sister left for my parents' house, and I stayed at our house for like an hour and a half to finish the book, and then I left to go hang out with my parents. I was like, I need to finish this book, and it was amazing. Book 2 was solid, but I think it dragged a little bit, and then book 3 very much so dragged, and then book 4 was okay. So I don't know, right? Didn't I read 4? Yes. I feel like everything we're being set up for is always dragged out to the next book, and you're like, I thought that was going to be in this book. So I'm just going to put under entertaining. I have a good time reading them, but I have a lot of issues with them. But not the same issues other people have, because like the joining, yes please. Bergman Brothers, I'm going to put under favorite. I love the Bergman Brothers series so much. There's 5 books in here. I think I've loved all of them except for book 4. The Marriage of Convenience one, Friends to Lovers, was not my favorite, but there are 5 books now. I'm obsessed with them. They're so endearing and heartwarming, and I love all of them. So this series, I'm going to put an absolute favorite, even though there are 2 I really don't like. 4 out of 6, I'm okay with that. I loved 4 out of 6 of them. I think I gave 4 of them 5 stars. Love book 1, love book 2. Book 3 was definitely a letdown, Savage Lover. Book 4, absolute favorite. Book 5, absolute favorite. Book 6 was a letdown. So because I have so many absolute favorites in here, I am going to put under absolute favorite, even though 2 of them I don't love. They are mafia romances. They're a great place to start with a mafia romance. I feel like they're like mafia light, but they're so good. Like, the best books outweigh the bad ones, and I'm obsessed. I love them. Then we have the Made of Steel series, which I'm gonna put under entertaining. I had a fun time reading these. I think that the mystery was a little obvious. It was like the mystery of who this person was. I was like, well, obviously they are. And I don't remember specifically about the plot, but I remember there was like a vigilante, and the heroine was like kind of falling for the vigilante, but then there's this other guy, and that's all I remember from the plot. But I remember being so engaged in this plot that I read them back to back to back. So they were very entertaining to me. I know some people didn't love them, but I really did. We have the Vegas Night series, which I'm going to put under solid. These are all novellas, and they're all so different. So the first one's Marriage in Trouble. The second one is Wake Up in Vegas, Married, Friends to Lovers. And then the third one is One Night Stand. And I will like turn into something more. I really had fun with these. They are novellas, but I flew through them. I love the characters. I love Christina C. Jones. We have the Devil's Night series, which I'm putting at absolute favorite of mine. I just ordered from Savage Cats a sweatshirt for Kai because Kai's my favorite. I love these books so much. They are dark romances, and I read them I've read them as they were coming out. I read book 1 when it came out. I was a huge fan of Penelope for the longest time. I still am. I love their books, and this series is always gonna be special to me, and I just love all the characters. And we have a villain redemption as well. Like, Damon is literally the villain of book 1 and 2 and gets his own book, and everybody loves him. Book 4 was a little bit of a letdown, I will say, but I love this series. We have the Fight Game series, I think this is what this is called. This one I'm going to put under solid series. I really enjoyed it. There are 2 books out now. Book 2 I gave 4 stars though, so I really love book 1. They're around MMA fighting. I really love them, but because book 2 was a 4-star, I'm going to put under solid. I really enjoyed them. We also have the Dreamland Billionaire series, which I'm going to put under, I don't know if I want to put solid or just entertaining. These books are like good. I'm going to put it under entertaining. They're good, but like, are they favorites? I think I gave both of them 4 stars. They're good, but like, I'm not obsessed with them as everyone else is. Like, the first one was Hate to Love. They had to work together at basically like Disneyland, Disney World, and then the second was Marriage of Convenience, and they were fine. I gave them both 4 stars, but not my favorite. One that might surprise you, we have the and what is this called? We have the Rain trilogy, and that's going an absolute favorite. This series is like in the midst of the apocalypse, survival. It is so good. This series was so entertaining, and I was obsessed with them. I literally would not stop talking about them when I was reading them, and it's so good. So the first one, it's like counting down to this date that everybody's been dreaming about, and then the date finally happens and everything goes to shambles. Like, nobody is following any order or laws, and then she meets this guy and they have to survive together. It is so good. Read it if you haven't yet. I loved it. B.B. Easton is known for her 44 chapter series, but this one's my favorite by her. And that's all I have. So as you can see, most of the series I've read have fallen into the top 3 categories. I don't continue series if I don't like them because I already don't continue series that I do like. So why would I continue series that I don't like? I definitely need to read more series. I am just really bad at it because there's like one left, or I really love book 1 but I want to save book 2 for when I need a really, really good book. So I'm trying to be better. Audio helps me a lot, but those are all the series that I've read. Let me know the series that you've read, what your favorites are, where you would put some of these, if any surprised you. I would love to hear, and that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.